Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. So today we are going to be doing a mending project. So I have this pair of socks, which are very pretty. I made them more than 5 years ago at this point. And the back side is just a 2x2 rib in this nice yarn that I think I got from Knit Picks a couple, like a decade ago. And then I have on the front this crisscrossed, you can see that the stitches kind of put it on a diagonal going back and forth. And that's just, I think twisted stitches is the name for that technique. So this was a test knit way back when, and they're a beautiful pair of socks, which I have worn quite a lot and have in fact worn them so much that if I put my darning egg in here, you can see just how worn this section of the foot is. This is right under the ball of my foot. That's where I usually wear through on socks first. So this is not unusual or unexpected. I've had these socks for, like I said, 5-ish years, probably more than that. And eventually wearing something on your foot for that long is going to wear through. But I have a plan. I have some leftover sock yarn from this project that I'm going to thread on a needle and then attempt to go over this section in duplicate stitch and make this usable again. These socks have been in my need to get darned pile for a while, and today I'm going to go ahead and hopefully get them darned so that they can get back into circulation in my collection of hand knit socks. So I'm going to change the angle of the camera so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and then we'll get to work. Alright friends, so I went ahead and edited out the first little bit of this, which was a little bit confusing to watch just because I was learning how to do this. I've never actually done a mending project using duplicate stitch before. Usually I'm mending an actual hole, not a worn area. So I weave a patch instead of doing duplicate stitch over a frayed area. So this was the first time I was doing this technique, so I thought it made pretty good sense to skip ahead through some of that more confusing video material and skip straight to where it goes pretty smoothly. But I did want to let you know that it wasn't all smooth sailing and there were some more difficult moments despite this appearing to go pretty smoothly. Although in a moment I'm going to pause and show you an issue that I had as I was working this darning process. Alright friends, so I wanted to stop for a second and show you what I just did because I made a mistake, and hopefully by showing you my mistake you won't make the same one. So I was going along here and then I accidentally jogged up and kept going. So these couple of blue stitches are in the wrong direction. I should have done a couple here, and then about now I would be switching to the next row. But you can see these stitches haven't been done, but these ones next to them, these blue ones, have been done. So I'm going to have to undo these, finish the row below them, and then come back up and continue on. But I wanted to slow down for a second and show you that more clearly so that hopefully you don't make that same mistake. Alright friends, so here I am undoing those couple of stitches that I had made the mistake on before threading my needle again and returning to the darning process. Something else I wanted to mention is that I'm not actually using the darning egg, the wooden darning egg that I showed you in the beginning of this video. I'm using a white Easter egg style egg that was just packaging in something that we got as a family, but I don't remember what it was. So something like that works perfectly well. It just needs to be a pretty smooth surface so that you don't, catch catch anything and attach it to the inside of your sock. So I wanted to mention that, but other than that, this process is going fairly smoothly. I am now almost done with the first sock. I'm just finishing up where the hole was. You can see most of it is now mended, so that's fantastic. And I will go into a little bit more detail on the second sock about how to go ahead and start this process and slow it down a little bit for you as well. I know that this was a little bit more confusing, and I am sorry about that, but hopefully the second sock is a little bit more clear as to what I'm doing. All right, so I have finished the first sock. It is invisible. It's right here between my fingers that I did the repair, and it's impossible to tell that there was even a problem there. But we have the first sock to compare it to, and you can see, even with my hand not inside the sock, all of those gaps and holes in the stitches. So I'm going to repeat this process on our second sock, and then these will be mended and I can start wearing them again, which I am absolutely delighted about. I thought these might be a lost cause, and they are a beautiful pair of socks, so I'm very glad that they are not. So I'm going to leave this for tonight. I'm tired, so I'm going to get ready for bed, but I just wanted to show you guys how absolutely wonderfully this mending job turned out. So stay tuned and we will do the second sock. The video's not over yet, even though I'm going to bed. I will be back. Hi friends, it is the next morning. We have our first sock all finished here. This is the mended spot, and here we have our second sock, which obviously still needs to be mended. So I have threaded a needle with some of our matching yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and get started down here. So starting pretty much here, where we start to see some wearing, this is obviously the worst of it, but I would like to do my best to mend this area that is thin but not in dire need of mending, just so I don't have to mend it sooner than I would like to. Hopefully these last a fair bit longer and I don't have to mend them for another 5 or so years. So what I'm going to do is find a spot kind of at the bottom of this where I would like to begin. I think I might start a little lower actually. I'm going to start here. And I'm actually working this green or these blue stitches right above my needle, but you need to start below. So I'm starting a little bit below. I'm going to pull my yarn through. And then what I'm doing is I'm just following these blue stitches here. So they've come through here and now they're going up and under these stitches. Hopefully the way I'm describing this makes sense. I know it's a little bit difficult to see. So now you can see these dark gray stitches going and kind of zigzagging through the stitches above and below them, over where these blue stitches were before. So I'm just covering up those blue stitches with these dark gray stitches or duplicate stitches. And in a moment, I will be ready to turn and start working back in the other direction again. And I will show you how I do that. So hopefully you can see I have worked these 4-ish duplicate stitches here. And now what I'm going to do when I want to turn my work is literally turn it 180 degrees. And then we're going to start working in these black stitches here. So to do that, I need to first get, because right now I'm in the black stitches and I want to be either above or below them. So I'm going to go ahead and think about this. I'm going to go above them right here. And then following those black stitches, from here down to here, and I think it's a little hard to see even for me, but I'm going to go right through here, through that stitch. And then you just keep on repeating this process, following the yarn in the worn yarn. And hopefully you can see these gray stitches coming back here and looking like a really nice duplicate of our knit stitch, which is why this is called duplicate stitch. Alright friends, so here I go, just continuing on this process of doing duplicate stitches over these frayed stitches that aren't broken but might break soon if I continue wearing the socks. So I don't show the whole process because that would be a little bit tedious. I'm already afraid that this video is tedious. So hopefully it isn't. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something, and I will be doing an outro momentarily. So stay tuned. Alright friends, so I have finished off this pair of socks that I was mending. They're both done, and you can kind of tell where the repair is just based on where the color pooling shows up, because it has this kind of very stripy pattern around the foot here, and then it's kind of, it gets off that pattern a little bit, and that's just where I was going back and forth doing duplicate stitch. But it turned out really, really good. The stitches look really good. They're a little bit bigger than the knit stitches when I was actually knitting the sock, but only by a little bit, so I'm not super worried about it. And you can see I didn't finish weaving in all of these ends. I'm just leaving them about 1/2 inch to 1 inch long, and then as I wear these, they're gonna just felt to the inside of the sock. So I'm just gonna let that happen as opposed to weaving in all these ends and potentially having them unravel on me. I'm just gonna let them felt to the inside of the sock, which should work pretty well. But you can see this is where the mending was, and it's also pretty invisible on the inside of the sock. There's, again, you can see based on where the color pooling occurs, but it's not really lumpy, there's no holes left, and I'm really happy with these. This is my first time mending using duplicate stitch, especially on a scale like this. Like, this was a pretty large repair. And I'm really, really happy with how well they turned out. These are going to be able to go back into my sock drawer, back into the regular rotation of socks that I'm wearing when it's a little bit colder out. Right now it's spring and summer, so it's not really the season for it. But once it gets cold again, I will be able to start wearing these socks, which again, I'm thrilled about because they have this pretty intricate crisscross pattern that took me a while. And so I'm glad I get to extend the life of these socks a little bit. Don't know if I mentioned, I think these are like my second or third pair of socks ever. So I'm glad that they get to last a little bit longer. So I hope you learned something in this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too tedious of me just doing that duplicate stitch over and over again. And I hope you get some crafting in and have an absolutely great day. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye, friends.